Alrighty, we're all here. Cool. Welcome everybody to episode 5 of the Tensport Tales. If you are just tuning in for the first time, all the previous episodes are available over on the YouTube channel, which I will link in chat. So you can check them out there. This is a homebrewed Pathfinder 2nd edition game with a bit of an urban setting to it, and by a bit I mean all of an urban setting to it. To do a little recap, last time we were in the midst of attempting to locate a man. I believe his name was, what was it, Davin? You guys can remind me here. Dallin. Thank you. Man by the name of Dallin, who had procured some very interesting items and was the lead suspect in a bit of a cold steel caper. We did locate him inside of a crate. Talked to him for a little bit, only to get the wool pulled over our eyes, as you will, which he turned into a smoke monster, and smoke just flew out the window, and to which we had to defend ourselves, work busting through a wall to get everybody out to safety, and we were flagged down by Doc, an accomplice or friend of Munt's, who has led us into some safety beneath the lower sewer district here, into the sewers. So I believe that is where we are picking up today's session.
It was a lot like in Lost when there was a smoke monster.
True. Mm-hmm. The smoke monster was inside of them all along.
There are a lot of things that can be inside of you all along, but we're not going to touch on all that.
Whoa.
All right. So you guys have descended into the sewers after moving a few crates, seeing a kind of silhouette off to the out in the far distance. After this voice had kind of called out to you, you guys see this kind of large hunched over figure that kind of continues to gesture for you guys to go walk that way. Underneath here, you can also see that as they kind of turn around and they kind of keep walking, they seem to be holding some sort of a something kind of right in front of them as they kind of disappear with a little bit of that lighting. Above you guys can hear as the odd bolt seems to continue to shoot pink over on the upper dock here, and you guys can kind of feel this kind of the area becomes even more dank and damp than the district of Sludge Street already was. Water kind of drips down every once in a while, and just you can see as all of these wooden beams. It's almost a miracle that they're still standing here. You guys kind of follow after this figure as he has turned the corner. You guys eventually turn the corner, see that there was a small little lantern on the ground that was kind of giving that illumination for this rather large hunchback. You guys turn to the right, look, and you guys can see as this monstrosity of a humanoid just standing over and with this with almost a metallic looking face. The man looks scarred up, scratched up to no end. Somehow still standing though, and none of these wounds look super fresh, but at the same time, every once in a while you guys kind of catch a glimpse as he moves of it just glistening just a little bit as he gestures. Every part of him just doesn't quite look right. The head bulges where it shouldn't. The arms seem to crackle a little bit as they move. His nails are super long, and some of them almost replaced with metal tips. some of the one of the wrists, you guys can see the bone kind of seems to just jut out of the side, almost like almost as if it was had grown in too large at some point, and now it just has this kind of almost like a fang coming out of one wrist. Seems to kind of gesture to you guys, and you guys can see in his hand one small box, and he's down this way. Come on. And as he kind of lowers himself down this what looks like a small hatch, you guys just can hear an almost slurping sound as he just disappears from view.
The picture of Doc on stream may or may not represent accurately the description that was just given.
That's just what people think he looks like. You know, it was on a wanted poster in Silk Square for medical malpractice. You know, it's hard for an artist rendering to capture exactly what someone looks like. But I'll dive down the hole after him.
Yeah, Monty quickly dive down this hole, and you just feel as your entire body gets engulfed in some sort of slime. As you just slick yourself, you slick yourself in what feels almost cold, but also like oddly warm. Like if somebody were to apply some sort of like Vicks Vapo Rub.
Mm-hmm. Like I can feel all my pores opening up to receive this.
Yeah, you can feel every pore opening up to receive this. Every hole in your body opens up to receive this just a little bit.
Gross.
Good.
I do not want to jump down the Vicks Vapor Rub hole. Thank you very much.
Well, it's too late.
But you're gonna go straight through, and as you do, you feel as your feet kind of touch down on on just another kind of wet and almost splashy puddle of like green and yellow, and you look forward a little bit, and you can see that there's a small kind of doorway where Doc, just the back of him, kind of is walking through.
Oh, well, I guess we all follow.
Yeah,
Yes,
Rich
we all follow.
also climb down into the nasty sewer, but he's holding his coat over his snout because he has a sensitive sense of smell, and this is not pleasant.
As you guys dive down the slime hole and land into the puddle, you guys catch a whiff of what just smells like a mixture of bile and feces down here. Soon recognizing that the kind of greenish yellowish liquid beneath you probably is some sort of unsavory excrement.
Gross.
And as you guys kind of follow Munt's lead here, as Munt kind of continues after Doc through this little doorway, and the doorway itself also just seems off. It's made of wood, but the hinge itself seems to not quite exist. Just seemingly almost melding into the very side of the wall that it's built in, and the very door frame itself seems to just kind of be almost a haze of like rippling motion. You guys step through this little doorway and find yourselves in what looks like a relatively large operating room of some sort. You guys can see that there's a bed, straps on there. There seems to be some sort of makeshift light with a large, some sort of like gritty mirror over top. What looks like the remnants of an old arm seems to sit in strapped down on one of the sides there. You guys watch as this large figure who, as you guys go to look at him more and more now, has eye patches, but also like at this point, these eye patches almost seem to be part of the face. They're the hunch that you guys, had occasionally seen on an odd poster, seems far more pronounced now, with the neck almost craning over itself. The hands that had once been drawn as relatively at least normal and fleshy seem to almost be like bits of bone, flesh, and maybe some sorts of metal. Uh, as he just, as he kind of just continues about his place. Shut the door behind you. Okay, where are my chairs? Ricky, where are my chairs? As eventually some sort of small three-legged creature seems to roll out of some of the goop underneath here. It's got like it's got itself a nexus of where a head might be, an eye kind of looking thing, but the rest of it covered in goop, and like two almost like fin looking things kind of flopping back and forth to act like legs, while it itself has its third leg kind of wrapped around some sort of wooden chair to an extent. Starts dragging it over and then just plops it down in front of you guys and then goes plop, plop, plop back all the way to try to find a different one.
I extend my hand out to shake the doctor's hand, and I say, "Doctor."
Oh, little rat boy, Munsker, nice to meet you. Just watch the claws, they're new. As he kind of, as he extends maybe what looked like the back two fingers while leaving the three, like the thumbs, index and middle finger just fully extended out so that
What's wrong?
he doesn't stab you through with what looks like some sort of
Oh.
bone or claw or
I just
metal.
grab the least dangerous looking finger and shake that up and down.
Yeah, he's like, it's good to see you. It's been a long time since I've seen you getting into trouble down in these parts.
Well, Doc, you know how it is. I've run into a classic archers on the roof scenario, and I've found myself a little bit worse for wear.
Oh, I mean, everybody finds himself worse for wear with an archer on the roof.
Hmm.
That's why you stay away from roofs.
That's true.
As another chair eventually makes it out to you guys, and then eventually yet another. Doc kind of just looks everybody up and down, goes, everybody's a little worse for wear with archers on the roof, huh?
And I'd also like to pet Ricky.
Yeah, you pat Ricky, and your hand almost sinks into what feels like a layer of mucus that kind of covers the main round nexus of Ricky's body. But Ricky just kind of like gives under the weight of your hand, just kind of almost like sinks, squishes a full like 2 inches every time you kind of you apply a little bit of pressure.
Can I make
I
some
just
kind of
casually, without looking disgusted, wipe Ricky's goo on my chest fur.
can I make some kind of check to try and figure out what the heck Ricky is before I go anywhere near him?
Uh, sure. Let me.
He's just a little guy.
I don't know why, but he's just an awesome guy. Let me go with just you want to just do maybe a nature check
Hmm.
for a recall knowledge?
17.
17. As you look at Ricky, Ricky looks like a mix of things. The two kind of like the two things that the two actually, now that you see it, the three things that he kind of walks around on, seem to be um at first glance looked like fins, but now that you're looking at it, it looks more like webbed feet, and they look almost tree frog like. You can see the kind of round bulbous almost finger points, and this kind of like bright red and green webbing in between them. Some of it looks like it's sewn in as you look a little closer now. But that seems to be what it looks like, and you can see that the actual arm that connects that to the body seems to also be frog-like to an extent, but almost inverted. So instead of being able to kind of jump off with it, and having the elbow behind the leg, it seems that the elbow juts straight out, to almost walk like a weird kind of like bow-legged man or something like that. The center of Ricky, the little round nexus point for the eye and presumably the head, seems much less explicit. Um, it seems like most of it is actually primarily just eye, um, but there seems to be some sort of skin over top of most of the eye.
Like normal
As you're
eyes.
kind of, sorry.
Like normal eyes.
Yeah, almost like a normal eye, but like as you look a little closer at it, just because you're like, do I go any closer to this thing? You eye it up, you can see also that there seems to be a little bit of stitching on that as well underneath all of that mucus.
Gross.
Ricky, yeah, Ricky is, as they would define, an amalgamation of things seemingly created.
Okay. Well. Alright, Nod, pleasure to meet you there, Doc.
Yeah, good to meet you too, big orc. Orc is that?
Yeah, pretty close.
As he seems to like stab part of his eye and then kind of like turn his finger a little bit, and you guys can see as his eye seems to adjust. His like pupil seems to dilate a little bit just to see a little better.
Nope.
You good?
Yeah, just wanted to get a better look at you, big
Okay.
boy.
Do you have a private room here that I could use for a little bit?
Do you want a washroom?
No. Actually, it's for more of a personal matter.
Oh, you need
dirty
to crank one
dog.
out. All right, let me see here. You can just take the bedroom if you want. Don't mind Jeremy on the bed though.
Very well, may mind.
Would you? I'll grab Jeremy. Jeremy! This man seems to kind of hunker over that way, and it grabs what seems like a large shelf and just moves it a little bit. And it goes, Jeremy, out here. You guys watch as what looks like a large bear rug blanket seems to just kind of like do the wave and slowly caterpillar its way out of that room.
What are you a doctor of?
Literature.
I'm a doctor. I'm a doctor of science. What else can you be a doctor of? I'm not like any of them fake doctors. Like I don't have a doctorate in poetry or something like that.
But you're not medicine, I'm presuming.
No, this is all medical in some way or shape or form. You're starting to sound like the other guys. Yeah, there. The other room should be clear. Go do your deed in the bedroom.
Okay, I leave.
Yeah, you go.
Rich, you know, I think it's a little bit
Close
elitist.
the door.
Rich, I think it's a little bit elitist of you to be trying to place so much efficacy in these titles like doctor or medical practitioner. Doc does good work, and that's all that matters. Not everyone can have a hoity-toity degree from an academy.
Oh, you want to know the best part? Is I
Sure.
got mine revoked.
Yeah. Not everyone can hold on to their degree from a hoity-toity academy. Things happen.
This man's kind of grinning ear to ear. I don't know. It's honestly, it should have been fine.
Mm-hmm. Of
Apparently,
course.
apparently
What
I broke some ethical codes, but I mean, the results speak for themselves.
Uh, what results would those be?
What results would those be? Well, it depends on who you ask. I would say that every skin graft I've ever done has worked out perfectly. Every marrow transplant has gone swimmingly. The eye stuff is a little iffier, but nobody does those anyways. So I mean, you might be better off with prosthetics, but I could all just as easily throw in a bare eye into you. Um, what else did I do?
And
What?
that's okay. We have the right to bear eyes.
Or
That's one of
arms. Do you
the
want more arms?
bear arms.
We can do bare arms.
I
Bare
would
arms
I
are
would
fine.
love a bear arm, to
I
be
was
honest.
I was I was expecting to get a few more parts from that warehouse because they say they ship me some every once in a while. But I mean,
Oh, Doc.
oh,
Don't worry. I had a little bit of foresight here, and I just start pulling out animal parts that I took from these crates.
oh, yes, 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 yes. Ooh. As he kind of grabs him and kind of brings him up to his face with a massive touch. Oh, they're still fresh. Okay, all right. Okay, let me put that over here. It's ooh, lobster. This one might be good. Anybody like lobster here?
I'm not feeling particularly hungry at the moment.
Oh, not to eat, but I mean, it does fair. Though actually, this one might be stewable. Well, think about it as he's kind of leafing through these things. Uh, d- with the door kind of closed behind you guys can barely hear anything from the outside now. Even though when you look up, there seems to be just a very mucousy covered board, like some mucousy covered boards overhead. Most of this seems pretty like everything up there seems kind of muffled. Every once in a while, you can kind of hear footsteps, things like that, but otherwise, nothing else kind of punctuates into the dock's space. After he's kind of gone through a few of these things, he's like, "Have you sat yet? The chairs are perfectly fine. They're
Don't mind if I do. And I go over and plop down. Well, I kind of have to jump onto it because it's
yeah,
not rat sized.
yeah." He also says the chairs. If you're scared about moving chairs, these chairs do not move themselves, so you can feel free to sit on the chairs.
What do you think? I'm some kind of Luddite that would fear the progress of moving chairs?
Our
Uh,
boss has a moving chair.
That's
your,
true. It's a symbol
whoa,
of the elite.
excuse me. Your boss has a moving chair.
Yeah, well, it's a wheelchair, but yes.
A chair
Your
with wheels. Have you heard of such a thing?
it was an interesting time because back when I used to chop people's legs off. As he kind of looks at the rest of the group, amputate legs for medical purposes.
Of course.
You'd have to put people in a wheelchair. I mean, unfortunately, you'd have to transport them around and not tip them over into a garbage can. But I mean, usually it was pretty all right. Yeah.
I once heard of a man who was in a wheelchair, but he carried a lasso so he could lasso onto things and pull himself towards, rather than being propelled by an assistant.
I heard the same thing, except it wasn't a lasso. I heard that it was an almost like a javelin-looking thing with a rope attached.
Oh, that would be good. That was a prudent man right there.
Yeah, I mean, sometimes you can't lasso something. Sometimes you have to pierce them, and it's
That's true.
just
So,
make sure it doesn't bleed.
is that all right if we lie low here for a little bit while the heat dies down?
Oh, of course. Any
Oh,
friend, Munt is a friend of
you're
mine.
not gonna want to lie low. If you get all the way on the ground, you might not be getting up. It's a little
Uh,
bit sticky.
Figuratively,
Oh,
lie low.
yeah, that should be fine.
I don't know.
Rich will take a seat.
Yeah. You guys sit down. As a doctor looks at her. It's where are my manners? Would you like some tea or some? What do you guys? What do you eat? What do you drink?
Whatever, basically.
Nothing this guy's gonna give me.
I am good, thank you.
I'll have both of their portions, thank you.
Oh, all right. Well, perpetual stew is still on the stove, so let me grab some of that. Yeah.
That's a great character name, Perpetual Stew.
Sure, that could be a rapper.
I'm always Stu. I'm never somebody else.
Yeah.
And even when I'm gone, I will still be Stu.
Perpetual Stew.
As he scoops a bunch of stuff into a bowl and hands it over to Munt and looks at everybody looks at the people in the room one more time and just goes, all right, that's fine. All right.
It's the esoteric philosophical brother of Disco Stew.
Wow.
See, the key with perpetual stew is you can keep it on for as long as you like. Just don't scrape off the sides, and you won't die.
No, of course not. The side, that's where the flavor comes from.
It is. It's also what keeps it from catching on any of the contaminants.
I take a big hearty slurp of perpetual stew.
Yeah. You take a big slurp. You make a great fort save for me, please.
Yes.
Just hear from the other room, like.
A 14.
14. The best part of perpetual stew is this is actually a real thing, and you actually can eat it. It's actually perfect safe. As gross as some of these parts are, and you can kind of see weird ligaments, just like odd bits. You can see like
It's hot dog soup. That's what it is.
Knuckle thing. But it is perfectly safe to eat. It's every once in a while you bite down on something that feels a little gritty or a little slimy, but it seems perfectly fine.
Except that it was cooked in a sewer.
Well, I mean, a lot of things are in the sewers, technically.
I mean, we're not even technically in the sewers yet. This is only the first level under, not even the third level under. That's where it gets worse.
I don't want to think of anything worse than this.
As you guys kind of chill, are kind of chatting away with Doc in that room, Wark, how's that bedroom treating you?
Well, I'm kind of just avoiding everything that I can. I've used what's left of my shield to scrape away the grime off the floor in like one part of it. And because I mean he's accustomed to grime, but not like this level. Yeah, and then he's going to I'm gonna refocus, which is 10 minutes of prayer, in order to get back my focus point. But I also want to, at the same time, activate my Soul Forge thing.
Okay.
So I'm gonna pull out my holy symbol, which I have drawn a rough image of for the stream, which is the small shield with the 7 stones and the Ouroboros around them, and I'm gonna pray to Ms. Luda and say, I hope you can hear me. I am in the need. I've attempted to protect those who I travel with, but it is very difficult, and I want to put more of myself into this to really strengthen my ability to protect those in need. But he says it all in Orcish.
Mm-hmm.
I know Mesluda. Maybe that's a god. I'm pretty sure all gods understand all languages. So.
Hmm. And now, can you describe to me how you imagine this kind the shield kind of manifesting here?
So I'm gonna use my original shield.
Okay.
And I'm going to attempt to, like, I'm like focusing on it specifically, to try and repair it. Although I'm not necessarily repairing it with tools, I'm repairing it with faith energy, basically.
Hmm.
And I kind of want to, like, my thought is that I kind of hold it and run my holy symbol, like place my holy symbol on it as I'm in prayer, and then it kind of, like, the energy kind of comes out of my hands and the holy symbol and, like, washes over the shield.
Hmm.
And it kind of glows like I'm imagining like a faint, like, bright blue color, and the shield fixes, it becomes fixed, and then I gain the ability to dismiss it and manifest it.
Very nice. Yeah, as you kind of as you say your prayer and you kind of feel this energy kind of washing over not only yourself but also your holy symbol, as it almost seems to merge is in that way. You feel all of the all of what you would have called on before when in your past life would have been all of this rage and anger and all of these emotions, but now this newfound calm that you've found, all um this purpose that you have now, um you feel as that plus all of that seems to almost merge with um, the spirit that comes out of your holy symbol, and it's as even to your own amazement, you look at your original shield as the cracks, the dents, even the breaks in it, um, seem to themselves slowly emanate a little more light, because you know that redemption the comes from things that are broken and struggling, and you, as you kind of look at your own shield, it seems to redeem itself while you kind of reflect on your own path of redemption. The entire thing seems to mend itself, fuse itself back in, and you can see it now so clearly in front of you. And you know that at any point it could be gone, but you also know that it's still with you whenever you need it most.
Mm-hmm.
Um, as you kind of take your time with that, the rest of the group here, uh, kind of taking a light breather out in that main room, as you know Doc and Munt kind of, just chat, and it was just killing time, letting everybody just chill out. As overhead, every once in a while, everybody here can hear a little bit of thump thump. Some muffled as some sort of conversation happens above, but it's unclear to you guys whereabouts that's going to be going or coming from. Eventually, work after you kind of finish this. Do you want to are you looking to just kind of stay in there for a little bit, or are you looking to kind of come back out to the group?
I will eventually come back out, because I think people are in need of some healing and whatnot.
Mm-hmm.
I would assume after last session. If not, it's just me. So I will come back out so I can heal some people.
Mm-hmm. You come back out of the room and you watch as the bear rug seems to now caterpillar itself back into that room.
Yeah. Yeah. So I don't have my shield anymore. It's not present for those who are observant. But I feel better. And I go, all right, well, said my prayers for the day. Anybody hurt, injured? I'm gonna tend to some wounds here.
I am looking rough.
Okay. I go, Doc, can I borrow your table?
Yeah, of course.
All right.
Let me get the arm off of it first. Hold on.
Yeah, please.
Grabs the arm, kind of undoes the straps, and is yeah. So you can strap in as tight as you need here. Let me...
I don't think we'll need a strapping, but can I would like to do like a prayer type thing on the table to I don't know, prevent sepsis or something. I don't know.
That's fair.
Yeah.
I don't have like a thing for it. I'm just trying.
And to ward off vengeful spirits that died under the knife.
Yeah. I don't want people getting the humors and the vapors and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, no, you say a quick prayer, and you can feel almost as if the blue color almost recoils a little bit from the very environment you're in, but eventually you can feel it kind of just spreading a little bit across the room, just inching out.
Okay.
Tentatively.
I say, all right, who's up first?
I'll go up first.
Okay, now I must warn you, since we have not been working together very long, this is orcish medicine practices, but it does work.
That's okay.
All right.
Orcish medicine. This ought to be good.
I'm gonna use my risky surgery feat.
A lot like Buckley's. It feels awful, but it works.
Yeah. So whenever I make a treat wounds roll, I deal 1d8 slashing damage to the patient before applying the effects. If I do, I get a +2 circumstance bonus to my medicine check, and if I roll a success, it counts as a critical success.
Just checking, are you do you have 8 or less health right now?
Yeah.
I have above 8.
Okay. You're good. So the way I imagine it working is it's more of like a bloodletting type thing. Like work cuts, like he makes an incision somewhere else to draw the to draw the body's focus and all the bad stuff out the other spot, so that he can like clean and up the other, like the actual wound.
Work is rebalancing your 4 humors.
Yes.
Too much black bile and not enough yellow bile.
So I'm gonna roll.
And you're proficient in.
I'm trained in medicine. Yes.
Oh wait, you are trained in medicine. Okay.
Yeah. I'm basing all of my like skill feats around being a part-time healer.
All right. Okay.
So I am going to. I will roll a d8 for the slashing damage. Then I roll +7 on my medicine check.
Okay.
So you take 7 points of slashing damage.
Okay.
And then that is a 24 on the treat wounds, which I believe is a success.
Yeah, that is a success. Yeah.
I'm pulling up treat wounds here.
15 is the trained DC.
Right, yeah. So because it's a critical, I now heal you for 4d8 instead of 2d8. No, it is a critical because I risky surgery is auto crit if I succeed.
Oh, I see.
It's the trade-off is that I only technically heal 3d8 on a critical. But I have a higher chance of succeeding.
Yeah.
Okay, so you're going to now heal for 23.
Okay.
So that is a net gain of 16.
Excellent.
And then I go, okay, but I can only, so I can do it to everybody once. It takes 10 minutes, but then you're immune to it for an hour. I can't just sit here and treat wounds. So if anybody else is injured,
nah, don't worry about me, Wark. I'll let Doc patch me up.
okay.
I'm not injured at all. I just really need a dry cleaner.
All right, I'm gonna do it on myself.
I can press to digitate you so that your stuff is dry cleaned.
Once we are out of the disgusting stuff, I would greatly appreciate that.
Yeah, I'm just waiting.
This
After
is
we're done, I
all
can clean y'all
incredibly
up.
sanitary.
All right.
Uh-huh.
I'm gonna attempt to risky surgery myself here. So I'm gonna take 3, and then I'm gonna roll a d20. I only rolled a. What was the DC you said? 15.
15. Yes.
I'm gonna roll my hero point.
Oh boy.
All right, that's a 19.
There you go.
So I take 3, and I heal 14. So I heal 11 net. All right, I'm only down 8 hit points. So no point laying on hands. I can hold that for now.
Yeah, you guys watchers, you gotta take some time. Even during this process, even the doc, who seems to be somebody who moves and talks a lot, just seems to watch with like rapt intent and very like intentionally, so just so as not to disturb the process.
Well, that was cool. That was a sweet thing. Yeah, if anybody if anybody really needs a top up, just let me know. I still have some less invasive healing if you need it.
I would say that was already quite impressive. Honestly, a few more stitches and you'd be perfect there. Or if you pull a little bit of slime over top, I'm sure it would.
Huh?
I'd take the edge off of it as well.
Oh my god, do not rub filth in your wound.
I start rubbing the filth in my wounds. But I say, Doc, could you give me like a scorpion tail?
A scorpion tail? Yeah, let me see where I leave those here. Scorpion tails are a little rarer nowadays, you know. Let's see. It's a little bit of this, a little charge. Oh, there we go. Scorpion tail. Here, take this. He hands it over to you between two like large metal claws.
I take it. I say, is there any way you could like attach this to my back so I can sting people?
Ooh. I mean, the tail is a little small. You might just sting your own butt most of the time.
I like that. I know what you were going for. How you wanted like a really cool scorpion tail, but this man handed you a legitimate scorpion tail that's probably the size of your pinky, and you just said, "Can you put this on my back?"
Do you replace my pinky with the scorpion tail so I can sting people when I shake their hands?
Oh, I mean, certainly. You do. I do. I would like to highlight that the scorpions do have exoskeletons, and you do not have an exoskeleton. So there will be slight compatibility issues. But I'm sure if you give me enough time, this could be arranged.
Do you think you could give me an exoskeleton?
In exchange for your regular skeleton?
In addition, I would think.
Oh no, that misses the entire point of an exoskeleton.
Well, aren't you twice as strong if you have both?
You're also twice as restricted.
Hmm.
Uh,
All right, we'll take a raid check on the whole scorpion thing until I understand skeletons a bit better.
Well, no. Let me work on it for you a little while.
Okay, okay.
I'm sure I can get something going. Or maybe in exchange for your tail, we could probably get something interesting scorpion-like on the back end. Perhaps something more like manta ray.
Let me know when you have a proof of concept. I could definitely be open to a nice swap of the tail.
All right. Consider it done then. We'll reconvene next time. Now,
Do I have to make a fortitude save after rubbing the slime on my wounds?
you in fact do not.
Nice. It's a good poultice.
What's actually incredibly awkward is that as disgusting as it all looks, it's actually not all bad here.
Nice.
As Doc kind of looks everybody looks you guys over after you guys patch up a little bit. He just says, "What? So just wondering, where were you running? Who were you running from? I know you said archers on the roof, but that could have
Yeah.
been any number of roofs.
Roof archers. There was a smoke monster. Uh, a couple of guys.
Roof archers. and
Does the
smoke
name
roofs.
Dallin Rye ring any bells?
As you mention the name, his eyes both snap in your direction, almost one almost popping out of socket here, as his head doesn't even quite turn your way, but just both eyes train directly on you, and he says, "Yes, and what of it?"
Well, he was the guy that we were trying to question, and he turned into some smoke monster, and he flew out the window.
Dallin Fry is the one that you were trying to capture.
That is
Describe
what
him
I
to me.
said.
Well, question.
Yeah.
He tall, kind of gangly, slicked back hair with ornaments at the ends. Seemed very proud of his hair.
Yes. Did he have an almost like a shark tooth knife on him?
Oh yes.
Oh,
Is that your knife? Did he steal your knife?
He was kind of like black and wispy and ethereal, also.
yeah.
Yeah, like a smoke monster.
Yeah, a lot like a smoke monster.
Mm, yeah. Yes. Well, I mean, this wouldn't be the first time he's been back, but I didn't anticipate it'd be this soon. Hmm. So he seems to be kind of grabbing around at things on his table and just kind of moving things around. You see as he grabs a little box, opens it up, and it just says, "Hey, over here." Hey. And it just closes back up and just, puts it back. It moves over to the other side and just like, so he is back then. Well, then that's not excellent news for any of us, is it? Let me see. What do I have here?
So, who exactly is he then?
Dallin Fry. See, uh, yeah, first things first. As he kind of moves, he shifts over what looks like a book off of the table. Except for the fact that it's covered in slime, so even when he opens it, it kind of doesn't really work properly. It just kind of like scrapes off a bit and tries it again. Scrapes off more and then tries it more. It's just, I'll need to find a better way to use this book. All right. So, Dallin Fry was is an old name back in Tensport. Are any of your families from here?
No, my family's from like a cave.
Nope.
Not originally, but my parents are from here.
Oh well, but your parents wouldn't live that long now, do they?
No, definitely not.
10 years maybe? 15 years?
16.
16? Oh, that's not bad then. Oh, it's congratulations. So, Dallin Fry was last with us maybe, let's say, I don't know, 30 some years ago? So, yeah, about 30 years was around the last time that he was around. But see, he was believe it or not, I used to be a doctor.
No.
So, when I was training to be a doctor back up in the skybox, um, when I was super little, uh, I had a teacher who was friends with Dallin because Dallin was an occult researcher up in the skybox. And see, he had found something or another, and then one thing led to the other. Essentially, he eventually went from being a scholar to I guess, almost like a social activist of sorts. He said that he saw a lot of problems that he wanted to fix. That's pretty standard stuff for the rich and it is- you know those people. But
Mm.
he eventually decided that he wanted to move into politics, and so he did a lot of work around um, the environment and how and was very much a proponent of bringing Sludge Street up out of the sludges. Um, problem was that the first time he attempted to do that, uh, he had essentially proposed amount of a legislation that amounted to shutting down the entirety of Forge Walk, which just ended up not going over very well for him. Um, and then after doing a few um, sabotages of various forges to try to reduce the amount of pollutants that they were pumping out and the amount of waste that they were dumping down here, he eventually was uh, killed by some of the, how do you put it, mercenaries? Mercenaries?
Ah.
Guard?
Cool guys.
Yeah, those. Um, and essentially buried, and that was the end of it, or so we thought. And then a few years later, he came back with a frenzy. Not very much not dead. And then ended up causing an enormous uprising up by Claw Trail, and almost burned down the entirety of Forge Walk again. Actually, that old warehouse that that he used to work out of, the one that feeds up to the one of those forges up there. Um, he actually had during that time had used that to load explosives up to the top, as almost a second form of um, assault, while the huntsmen and the various folk were bashing buildings on the other side. Eventually, the guards put down the entire ordeal, and Dallin was, well, sentenced to death again. But I mean, they realized that he doesn't actually die very well, so they ended up, how do you put it, uh, tying him down. Essentially, they chained him up to a bunch of things, and had to confine him to a lake that's further inland. So
Doc, you said he was an occult researcher and then he found something or other. Are you meaning to say that he found some kind of occult artifact that lets one cheat death?
I'm not sure. I'm not going to lie to you. When I was around there, I was maybe 17, 18 at the time at most.
That's 4 times as old as Rich now.
That's fair, but he probably has at least the maturity of somebody in their 20s or 30s.
In their tens, at least.
More mature than everyone here combined, it feels
Hey now.
sometimes.
He's incredibly mature. Look how much hair he has on his back.
It's quite the measure, of course. But yes, I don't remember because I was still a medical student at the time, still just try. I was just learning basic dentistry at the time. I just remember that my teacher was was a good friend of Dallin's before he started doing the, well, uh, terrorism thing.
Hmm.
Ah, yes, the terrorism thing.
It's
Perhaps
quite the hobby, honestly, but it's not for me.
it would do us some good to try and find out what kind of artifact Dallin may have acquired prior to all this taking place.
Is your old teacher still around?
My old teacher. Yes. Hold on. Let me find him.
When he goes to look for whatever it is he's looking for, I want to go, like, walk over and grab the box that started talking.
Yeah.
I believe it is my duty to free this creature.
All right. You open up the little small kind of like gooey black box that he had that was talking, and as you open it up, you look inside, and you can see in there, it's actually uh a basic music box.
Mm-hmm.
It's basically as you open it up, it you can see some small gears kind of click in, wind up the mechanism, and once the entire top of the lid hits the very top, it just plays over here.
Don't worry, Wark. There's
Mm.
not the soul of a guy trapped in there. It's mechanical.
Is there
The
the soul? Can I make a religion check to see if there's a soul of a guy trapped in here?
The gears are a facade.
go ahead.
Well, that's a 16 plus 5, 21.
There are probably many souls of many things that have not gotten rest because of this place. But the box specifically does not seem to be that. No.
Okay.
Can I make a crafting check to see if it looks like it actually is constructed, or if it's merely has the appearance of a mechanical device?
These do.
A 20.
20. It actually is, hilariously enough, out of all the things here, genuinely mechanical.
See,
Uh,
Wark, it just goes like this gear turns to this, and it vibrates on this crystal, and it's there's some real artistry going on here.
it, Doc kind of just turns around and says, yeah, that's how you get them. That actually used to be what my voice sounded like before I, well, ruined all 7 of my vocal cords.
Huh.
How are you talking with no vocal cords?
I mean, I got more.
It's
Oh,
it's good not to
God.
get bogged down in the details of why someone would need a fake device that says "Psst" over here, or how someone gets more vocal cords. Let's just all enjoy Doc's hospitality, huh?
As Doc kind of turns around and says, "Look, see, this is my old teacher right here." And as he kind of brings up a little jar, you guys look
Oh
in,
no.
and you just kind of see a preserved head,
Can he
preserved
Yeah.
talk?
shrunken head in there. And it says, "No, no, of course not. Goodness gracious."
Well,
Hmm.
that's not going to be helpful.
First of all, he's very helpful. I look at him and I go, "Well, I don't want to look like that in the future." And then, well, I look back at myself and feel better.
True.
That is fair, but that is not helpful for our current predicament.
Yes, we were hoping he could speak to us about Dallin Fry, but that is...
But it does inspire you to not let someone cut off your head and put it in a jar.
Oh, so true. In fact, actually, I didn't cut off his head.
No one even said that you cut off his head, Doc. We just said that his head was cut off.
I
It's okay.
definitely thought it.
If it helps, I definitely did not cut off his head. He actually, in fact, walked into the guillotine himself.
Did you shrink the head?
Wait,
No,
was it your guillotine or was this a public execution?
oh, I mean, he was he was yelling at me and telling me that I shouldn't be chopping body parts up in a guillotine, and then
Okay, well we can't we can't know for sure. It could be either of those things I mentioned.
but that's all right. I mean, so here, look. This is his notebook. He had a notebook on it, so you
Oh.
can, if you want to take this as he like holds it, and he's like trying not to cut through it, and but also trying to simultaneously get the slime off.
I will take that.
You can hand that to
take
me and I'll get the slime off.
take that, and it's trust me, he took immaculate notes. Also because he was the first one who reported him to the Tensport guards when he realized that he had been acting funny. So
Lovely. Okay.
he was also the one.
prestidigitate that so that it is no longer gooey.
Mhm. That's just white wispy white fluffy fox who is at the moment just a little less fluffy. Just waves a few fingers and the goo kind of just melts away from this book. You guys can see now on the very front cover a nice leather bound notebook. It seems to be these are academic notes that had been made previously, and as you guys start flipping through, um, even as I assume uh, Rich and Rin are kind of flipping through this book here, you can even hear Doc kind of muttering under his breath as you guys are flipping through, and he just goes, surgeries, dentistry, lenses, bones. He's not even looking, but he just like by the very sound of you guys kind of flipping through the book, and every once in a while kind of looking at where you guys are, you can just hear him as he almost seems to have committed most of this to heart. And as you guys kind of flipping, he goes, and personal, recent events, and Dallin. This should be what that should be it. As you guys kind of look down at the various pages, you guys can see that the notes are written very nice cursive, and it now seems to paint the picture of a rather well put together man, very just like everybody else, who takes great pride in how they present themselves, who just found themselves feeling a little more sympathetic one day after making a recent discovery that they promised they were going to publish in a journal at some point. With that, it kind of seems to kind of talk about how how his colleague then decided to start working out in the field more instead of kind of being cooped up in the old um, the pentagram chambers and in the various kind of occult sounding rooms that they have, and eventually kind of moving out and branching out, going out into Tensport itself and actually walking about, looking around at the place, things like that. Apparently finding a great deal of kinship with two g- districts of people, both the people out in Claw Trail, who it seems that he had, eventually would, occasionally bring back huntsmen to the academic district, much to the chagrin of a lot of the um, cleaner library folk around those parts, um, just talking about the world and talking about how their way of life. Then eventually found kinship in the people down on Sludge Street, and said, "Oh, look at all of these people." Basically, both Clawtrail and Sludge Street very much suffering under the constant pollutants of the forge, how a lot of nature had kind of been pushed away and blah blah. But eventually, you can see as the notes seem to take a bit of a turn. Eventually, Dallin instead of just kind of sympathizing and writing letters and started leading protests and things of that nature until he finally got at least some support for a run at city councillor, um, wherein he had a large following and large support of s- some of the poorer folk out both in the in Claw Trail and in Sludge Street. Made an almost successful bid for counselor, but was admitted on a technicality, essentially some sort of voting error that had occurred, and a revote had to be taken, and he won by a slight margin. Then started introducing legislation and trying to run that through um, the House, and with some allies was able to make some of it happen. But that started shutting down trade, and so eventually a hit went out on him, and he was not seen for several years. After
And
that, sorry, continue.
can I make a recall knowledge occultism check? Like, assuming that he is under some kind of occult influence, would I know of any ruinous powers that would either support these kind of anarcho-primitivist tenets, or if I think it is the work of a demon pursuing chaos that wants to trick someone, perhaps well-meaning, into disrupting industry just to cause a mess.
Yeah, make your check.
All right, let me. Say 25.
25. The possibilities here, you've already kind of touched on them, and narrowed them down a little bit. There are some spirits or some deities that tend towards nature quite a bit. That's very much one avenue that could lead to this. Those spirits don't care about the well-being of people and their civilizations, and very much would just prefer if nature was left well enough alone. That could be that could be a prime suspect. Considering also that he seemed to have connected to the naturalists and hunters and things like that first out in Claw Trail. But there is a part of this where that you're reading that, or you're where as Rich and Rin are kind of like letting you guys talking to you guys about this as they're reading it out. That in the back of your mind sparks it sparks just a little twinge of his fall seems too fast to be to either only be influenced by something like a vengeful nature spirit. um it just doesn't seem, because usually those will either be immediate and instantly vengeful, or those will those will slowly go into the mind of somebody with time. But to have this person kind of go through this change from pure occultist with no interest to, instead of just going out and lashing out at everything, kind of, oh, let's go talk to people. Oh, let's go to oh, let's do this. But still taking a semi-logical route about it to go through, things like legislation and things like that. It seems too well thought out, even for even like a nature god or spirit to have enacted. So you're really leaning towards the possibility that it's either a mixture of influences or very much a nefarious kind of like
Demonic.
want to watch the world burn type of a spirit.
Hence Shadow Demon.
Yeah,
Can I
I'm
make a
suspicious of Shadow Demon.
Can I make a society knowledge recall to see if in the last couple hundred years I know of any other prolific demonic cultist outbreaks in and around Tensport, and if it was ever ruled what power they were trying to appease or serve?
Yeah, feel free.
What's my society? Oh. Say
Also-
24.
24. Sorry, give me one. Yeah, as you've looked through, as you kind of look through, and just in your head try to think like, oh, was this ever like a thing? Was there ever something like that might have gone through, um, in and around Tensport? Um, Nothing really comes to mind. At least nothing organized. There's always going to be the odd person who comes up who's, a little bizarre. But for the most part, nothing organized has come through in the last little bit. You have heard that in the region, especially with some of the, especially just slightly outside of Tensport, that there might be some more tribal elements that occasionally get possessed by the spirit of or the divinity of a god. Um, and you know that, for example, like the rough beast is one such person, just somebody who very much just desires to destroy and to demolish. Um, but really inside of Tensport proper, there haven't been too many, at least not many, any publicized ones that you'd be able to think of off the top of the head here.
Okay. I don't communicate any of my thoughts on the matter to the group.
Uh,
Doc,
yes.
you said that your teacher knew that this guy was researching something. What was he researching? Was he like looking at artifacts or anything like that prior to sort of this switch over?
Yeah, from my understanding, or what we would talk about on campus is that the occult researchers generally either worked with artifacts or rituals, or the third alternative being places of power. But to my understanding, Dallin was not a places of power person. He actually fundamentally never left the skybox until his change in mentality, from what I remember. But he very well was a researching an artifact, or and could very possibly be looking at ritual at the same time. Those sometimes, actually not even sometimes, often go hand in hand.
That is very true. Magic often requires more than one component for it to work well. Okay, and I'm just gonna throw a guess out there that you don't know which artifact or ritual he was studying at the time.
I can tell you that on the big change from him back in the day was him suddenly carrying around that knife.
Okay.
Whether or not that was his artifact or if it was just a ritual knife of some sort,
Well-
I would not know. But
Strong, you know. I've disarmed a lot of other bigger, tougher guys in my time, and I was unable to do that to him.
yes, well, see, this was the key. If you keep reading, actually, it goes through what his second coming too, and near the end of that, you'll actually see more about his essentially final resting. Um, from what I remember, it was, and he's even as you guys flip to that page, he recites it himself, even though he seems like he doesn't quite know it. It's he. They had finally caught him and had decided to hang him, and even while hanging him, he seemed to just stay there, completely confident with no rights. And he was not, and even though the knife was not near him, well, it was not in his hand at the time, it was well on the stage, actually. But then what ended up happening is after 3 days of him being watched for his hanging, they ended up having to find one of the holy lakes uh, out in the mainland. It was a spirit lake, um, made of like a very crystal clear water, fed by a waterfall. And so they actually end up parading him out there, chained down his head and each of his limbs and his knife separately, um, to small balls of cold steel, and then dumped him into the lake.
Wait, cold steel?
Yeah, it was the cheapest steel available at the time.
Ah. Well, this is quite
Hold
fortuitous.
on a minute, guys. I think you guys might be going down a little bit of a rabbit hole here. Haven't considered the possibility that there never was a man named Alan Fry. He was a fictitious individual cooked up by the powers that be in the city, and he staged these acts of bioterrorism to create uh, a plausible reason to increase security in the city, to rule with more of an iron fist over the poorer people of the city, and show them what would happen if they tried to enact legislative change for their own benefit. We haven't considered that it might not be a demonic power here at all, but the most demonic power of all, the hearts of men.
Oh, Monty, when your false flag
Um,
attacks.
Hey,
Uh,
Hey! This one, I'm saying.
where
We
was
don't.
he buried the first time? Do you happen to know?
Where was he buried the first time? Let me go back a few pages there. See right there. It's just the city graveyard. Just past Claw Trail. It's
okay, let's go.
straight north under the shadow of the. as War kind of gets up and just starts.
Work has been nodding in and out of sleep as everybody has been reading this book, and now that there is a named place that may be a lead, he's out of here.
Can we take this book with us? We'll be able to return it later. I know Munt will be able to find you again, Doc.
Yeah, sure. I will tell you that now. If Dallin is back, I will make myself harder to find. But
That is
if you
completely
find
understandable.
if you find the slime, you'll find me. I'm sure.
Yes. Actually, on that note, did you? No, never mind.
Did I
Don't worry
what?
about
No,
it.
no, no, little fox thing. You haven't spoken much all day. I want to hear what you have to say.
So, Dylan seems to carry around, not only with his knife, a notebook where he writes names. I don't happen to know anything about that.
You, the notebook where he writes names.
Well,
Oh,
to be fair,
okay.
he doesn't write the names. The names just kind of show up and then they turn into a different language.
Well, that's horrific, actually.
Yes,
That's
indeed.
horrifying. It was so on Dallin's body at the once again, near the end of just before the execution. There's notes that they remove things from his body. So the records are probably in the city arrest logs somewhere. But from what I remember, that was he actually the first time he died, he was he they had after he was they had found his body, they had seen that he had a hit list on him,
Ah,
a list of people people
quite.
people who were found dead and crossed out, and then people that were well known to have been his targets. Though I don't think it would have been in a different language. It would have very well just been in the language, been in common.
It's Shadow Demon hit list.
Yeah.
Thank you, Doc.
Also possible, though I will say I do want to just one last thing for you. Just if you're out there, be careful who you say the name Dallin to. Because there may, even though it's been maybe 30 years, there are still going to be people who are very sympathetic to his cause.
That's fair.
So only people under the age of 30.
Imagine if I didn't have to live down in this sewer, and his promise to me was that I could, be up in a big tower somewhere, away from all this sludge and all this smoke that's filters down. Imagine if the hunters were told that their game wasn't being scared away by the sounds of the forges. There are many people who will likely still be very sympathetic, and I don't think that needs to be. He needs to have his time in the limelight again, especially if he does plan on a repeat performance.
Fair. Keep it down though. We'll try and keep the name under wraps as much as we can.
Oh, I mean, once again, I'm just looking out. When he came back that first time, it was a terrifying time for many of us, even those of us who thought that maybe there was some good behind the message. In fact, actually, the walls up in Forge Walk, those big concrete ones that encompass the entire district,
Mm-hmm.
those were made in response to him.
Oh. Interesting. He's in response to him, not
Yeah,
from
I
him.
mean, they weren't up before. It was all one city. But after he led raids against that part of town, they eventually had to, put up walls. I don't think they're in use anymore. I don't think the walls are actually manned, and I don't think the gates on them actually closed now. But that tells you what that district thinks of him.
Okay. Good to know. Thank you, Doc. That was
No problem, little fox one.
helpful.
Now, before you all go, I just want one last thing: is don't track the slime everywhere.
That's fair. I can deal with that.
Good. It was very nice meeting you all, though. I must say, it's any friend of mine is a friend of mine. If you need anything, feel free to find me, or I can find you, whichever.
Thank you. And then I'm gonna head out after work.
What kind of leads the way as?
No, I'm already gone. I left when I said I left.
Yep.
Fair enough.
I'm going to prestidigitate everyone as they leave so they don't track the slime, and then as I see slime following after work, I'm just gonna, okay, deal with it. Goodbye, slime.
Because so I totally understood everything that was just said in that giant lore dump. But maybe for the viewer, can we get a fantasy spark notes here on what the key points of that were? Dallin was a normal dude, then he all of a sudden led an anarchy, then he died, then he came back, then he died again. Now he's back.
Captain Planet plus a Solomon Grundy.
Okay, yeah. I mean, oh yeah, okay. And then, but he's trying to destroy the Forge Walk. That makes right. That was kind of what his original plan was.
No, it sounds like what he's trying to do is he's trying to destroy all the industry. And so forges, trading, all that sort of stuff.
Okay.
At least that's what I gathered.
Okay.
And it seems like it's all sort of from that knife. It sounds like the knife was the trigger.
Yeah, the knife is whatever is making him unkillable slash unstoppable slash slashy.
Yes. And also, he definitely has a hit list, and we are now on it.
Ah.
Yeah.
Okay.
And likely he was still human when he died the first time, when the hit list was written in common, and has turned into a demon since, which is why it goes originally into common and then goes into a demonic language after.
Yeah. Okay.
Yay, so we have a hard to kill shadow demon after us. Great.
Well, we don't know that he's a demon. He could, be a false flag operative, a crisis actor, if you will.
He's a demon.
You saw it with your own eyes.
I just don't want to rule out every possibility. Well, they have governmental devices that turn people into smoke monsters now.
I would like to sense motive on Munt. Just to see if he knows something and that this is a clear ruse to throw us off the trail.
I mean, I'm not gonna stop you guys from trying to from making that roll against from doing that. You guys can feel free.
So I make a contested deception then?
I believe that is the case.
Yeah, I believe so, yeah. Sense motive. Yeah, deception DC of the creature.
Oh, it's my deception DC, or it's just a contested. I mean, I guess it was the
Deception DC of the creature is what it says here, but
it does say deception DC, but I'm also okay with it being contested. I'll let you guys.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, because my assumption is that if you were to want to deceive him in any way, you would attempt to deceive him, right?
I got a 9.
I got a 19.
Oh boy!
A critical success is you determine the creature's true intentions and get a solid idea of any mental magic affecting it.
I'll let you speak for yourself here.
Yeah, I mean, you don't there doesn't seem to be any mental magic affecting me, but it's definitely clear that I do not want us to pursue the the potential demon finding route, because just descend how so what is the limits of what sense motive tells you? Like
it is your intention. So in this case,
my clear intention
not have them find the demon or whatever.
My intention is to perhaps plant a false herring to lead down a different route that's more accusatory of the government.
Okay. Okay. So I read you and I go, why are you so scared of demons there, Munt?
What are you scared? Me?
You sound you sound like a rat caught in a trap. What's got your tail, a cat?
While all this slime may resemble a large glue trap, I'm not sure I'm cool as a cuke right now. All right. I'll level with you. I was trying to lead us astray to foment insurrection against the government. I have a bit of a anti-establishment streak in me.
Mind, what did I tell you about taking down the government? That's not how you lead a path of redemption.
Well, one could argue that taking down the government is leading the government on a path of redemption. You know how corrupt they are, how much wealth inequality and injustice they pervade throughout the city. I am merely following the tenets of what's the lady that you talked to. I am just trying to do that kind of thing.
What's
level with you. The government sucks. That's fair.
Thank you.
I think we can all say government is slow and bureaucratic and a pain to work with. However, we also have a shadow demon that put cold steel into a forge, which could have caused many deaths and a lot of issues in this city. And we're being paid to figure that out. And maybe, stop him from doing that again so more people don't die. As great as it is to get rid of the government, I don't think this particular problem that we have is going to be the one to change that.
All right, we'll shelve the whole overthrow the government idea for now.
For now, just for now.
Just for now.
I mean,
and then maybe next mission, we can kind of turn that into insurrection.
Also, if you are following the teachings of Ms. Luda, as I have tried to tell you, you would know that you should seek to improve yourself and your community, and trust those you work with.
What do you think I'm trying to do, Mom?
And encourage cooperation, not to pull a fast one over on us.
That's okay. That's where I went wrong. I should have let you guys in on my plan and let you know of my intentions. I do apologize for not being forthright about that. In the future, when I am trying to rally the support of the common man to execute bureaucrats, I will let all of you know.
Also, you should not be placing conflict between the ideological differences over people's lives.
Well, that
is anathema to her cause.
It's not an ideological difference. Killing them will directly save lives of people that are indentured under their yokes. So now
you're a yoke, and I walk off.
You're being intellectually dishonest with me, Work.
That works well in theory, but there's always another one to step up into the position once you've taken one out, and then it's sort of like you keep taking them out, but they keep coming back. Instead, you have to actually shift things in the actual government to be able to make large radical changes. So we can talk more about that at a different time.
We can talk about socialism all night, but
all right. In the future, perhaps we will have Rich run for city councilor as a puppet leader, and we will enact change through him and his charismatic face.
I am very adorable.
Is your slogan going to be welcome the next 12 years of change? Because after that you die.
That's good. It's like built-in term limits.
Null society is best society.
With that, you guys continue walking through this kind of this bottom layer. Even as you guys kind of do, you guys eventually see that there's another stairwell that will lead you out of this one layer, into a lower one, but also into an upper one, which would lead you at least back up to the salty sea air here. You guys step back out, quickly kind of checking your surroundings. Can I get everybody to quickly make a just a quick perception check for me here?
Natural 20.
Oh boy.
16.
Ooh, mine is a 22.
Mine's a 23.
Nice. With all of you guys, kind of now very sharp at for the possibility of ambush, and conflict here. You guys step out, quickly look around, listen. Doesn't seem like anybody's running your way or going one way or the other. So you guys just quickly step out onto the main level of the dock and start walking your way towards the city cemetery? Is that where we're headed here?
Yep.
Most excellent. In which case,
at least that's where I'm headed.
In which
I'll
case,
follow Work.
Yeah,
I'll
let's.
follow him.
We will call it there, and we'll find ourselves next time, on let's say we will find you guys like en route to the city cemetery here.
All right, cool.
Nice.
Okay.
Have a good night, everyone.
All right.
Good session, everyone. Take care.
Yep.
Right, team.
Thanks everybody for tuning in. That was episode 5. We will be back next Thursday for episode 6. If you are not caught up, you can always go to the YouTube channel and watch them there. And the VOD for this will be up sometime this weekend if you missed the first part of it. So be sure to check us out there. Until then, I will be back on Sunday with something. Maybe more Skull. Maybe I'll finish Guardians of the Galaxy. Who knows? Until then, see you later. Peace.